Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Samantha Ann and I talk about books. Today I have a book haul. I don't know how many, hang on, 21 books. This is just totally excluding any audiobooks or any ebooks because that's a whole other thing that I don't even want to get into right now. Let's just jump right into the books. And these come from a variety of different places. These come from BookOutlet. So my BookOutlet Black Friday haul is in here as well, and I'll like specifically talk about those books. But I have a couple from Book of the Month, BookOutlet, and Silverfire Books, which is a used bookstore type thing on Instagram, but I'll talk more about that whenever I get to those books. So the first two things that I'm going to talk about, and this is technically one thing, but it's just two different covers. I did get issue 5 of Skin and Earth by Lights, but when she releases each issue, she does 2 covers. So there's cover A, cover B. And I haven't taken them out of plastic yet because I just haven't gotten there. So yes, super excited to read those. I think that the 6th and final issue comes out later this month, I'm pretty sure. So we're gonna do the next 2 books I got from Barnes & Noble because I got like one of those ebook credit settlements and I was like, oh hey, let me just go ahead and use those, and it was a decent amount. So the first book is The Last Tutor by Philippa Gregory, because you all know that I am Philippa Gregory trash, and I fully admit this, but this is her newest release. Honestly, I'm not sure which Tudor this is about, if this is Elizabeth Tudor. I'm not really 100% sure. The book itself, though, is very pretty. Like, the cover is a little bit, like, iridescent, I guess you would use that word, and then, like, the inside, and it's got the deckled edges, and also it's signed. So that is book number 3 that I owned that is signed. So, and the second book that I purchased was Strange Weather by Joe Hill, and I love the colors of this so much. Just the cover is beautiful, and this is 4 short novels, so it's, you know, short story collection. Also, hey, cool, this is signed too, so that's exciting. Next one is something that I just happened to order off Amazon because I kept seeing it floating around, and so this I Let You Go by Claire McIntosh. Couldn't really tell you what it's about. You may have seen this on my Instagram because I realized that while I ordered it, I forgot to put it in a haul. And so here it is. So yeah. Next is my Book of the Month book for November. And I got 2 books. The actual book of the month was The Rules of Magic by Alice Hoffman. This is like a prequel to Practical Magic, which if you've watched my wrap up, which I will link up above, I'm pretty sure that I wouldn't have needed to read Practical Magic in order to read this now that I've read Practical Magic. I haven't really heard much about it up until this point, so. And the next book I got as an extra, and that is The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. This is historical fiction, if I am correct. And when I marked this as to read on my Goodreads shelf and it showed up in my Twitter, I got a bunch of comments about how this is such a good book, so I am excited to read this. Okay, so the next section is going to be the couple of used books that I picked up from Silverfire Books. This is on Instagram. Pretty much the way that this works is they post on Tuesdays, Thursdays, Saturdays, and Sundays. And they just post the book with the price and the picture, you know, whether it's hardcover, condition, blah, 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 that kind of deal. And you just comment on it if you would like to purchase it. And then they open a PayPal invoice. There are some weeks that I have found that they haven't posted anything that I wanted, and then there's other weeks where like I have the alert sent to my phone because there's been a couple times where they have had things that I've really wanted, but I've literally commented like 5 minutes too late. So the first book, I know that you guys, because of my Stephen King book collection videos, which I will also link up above just in case you want to watch those, you know that I am trying to collect Stephen King's in hardcovers. I have a lot of mass market paperbacks, but I'm trying to get hardcovers. So one of the things that I managed to snag from Silverfire Books is For Past Midnight in this beautiful hardcover edition. And it looks like this was originally published in 1990, which makes this 27 years old. You know, not that that like makes it vintage or whatever, but I really like having the older copies. And especially because of the year that this was published, and it's 27 years old. It's really hard to find these editions with the dust jackets still on them. So I was really stoked to pick this up. And the next couple were just some that I saw and I was like, hey, let me grab this. First one is Island of the Blue Dolphins by Scott Odell. And I remember reading this when I was a kid, and I have wanted to reread it many times since then. And it was literally like $4. So I was like, okay, let's just grab that. And the next book, if you watched my nonfiction November wrap up, you know that this is a author who is new to me as of last month, but I saw this in hardcover and it was cheap and I was like, yes, let's just go ahead and grab it. And that is 10 Little Indians by Sherman Alexie. I do not have any idea of the plot synopsis of this book. Since reading You Don't Have to Say You Love Me, I have picked up multiples of his books in ebook format. I think I got a couple on audio, and then of course this one. So, and the last book that I picked up from Silverfire Books is an edition of Alice in Wonderland, because you guys, this isn't even my favorite book of all time. It's really not, but I keep finding these beautiful editions, so I just keep buying them. Like, I can't explain why, but this is a hardcover from, I want to say, there's actually, you know, because this is used, there's an inscription on the inside. It was a gift for someone at some point, and it was given to them on August 2nd, 1974. So, but there's, you know, the old illustrations and things like that in it. So I saw it and just wanted to have it. Okay, so now we come to the bulk of this book haul, and this is my Black Friday book outlet haul, because they were doing an additional 30% off of books, and I just added a bunch of shit to my cart and checked out. So let's just look at the books. The first one is Ernest Hemingway's The Old Man and the Sea. I read this in school. I remember really liking it. I've wanted a copy of my own, and I liked this cover. So the next couple of books are all by the same author, because they had a bunch of paperbacks, and so I was like, sure, why not? And that author is Clive Barker. This first one is The Thief of Always, and I'm pretty sure that I have a matching cover for this, I think for Cold Heart Canyon. Yes, but that one's a little bit more yellow than this one, but it's like the same, yeah, it looks the same. So I don't know anything about it, but there are illustrations in this, and if you're familiar with Clive Barker, he likes to illustrate things, which I love, especially his Abarat series. I love the illustrations in that. So next one that I picked up is Cabal, and I think that this is the basis for one of the horror films. Maybe it's Nightbreed. Do I have this one already? No, just kidding, I don't. For a minute I thought that I had this one in another cover, but I did get, oh, what's this? What? Oh shit. This has illustrations too, and I didn't realize it. Okay, cool. So this is Imagica. Imagica, I'm assuming that's how you say it. We all know how I suck at pronunciation. This is a fantasy, and I don't really know much about it. I know that this is supposed to be one of his best books, and that's all I really know. They're just like black and white illustrations. But you can see how tiny that print is. Like this is a decently thick book. Look at how tiny the print is. So I'm super looking forward to that. That's gonna take a minute to get through, so. And the last Clive Barker that I have is Everville. Oh, you know what? This is actually the sequel to The Great and Secret Show, which I do have on my shelf, and I can't reach it right now, so I'm not gonna get it, but this is apparently the sequel, which I didn't know there was a sequel, and I don't know what either of those books is about. I just know that I like Barker, so I was like, let me just get it. Okay, so the next book that I threw in my cart was Radiance. This is by Catherine Valente, and I know next to nothing about this book. See, I just threw shit in my cart. How many times have I said in this video, I don't know anything about this, because I'm really bad about that, and I'll talk about that more whenever I get into like my reading goals for 2018, and that's not going to be till later this month. But okay, so anywho, there's a sticker on the back of this that said that this book was $24.99, and I'm pretty sure that I got it for like $5.49. So yes. Okay, so anyway, I don't know anything about this. I have read this author before. I read the first in the Fairyland series, The Girl Who Circumnavigated Fairyland in a Ship of Her Own Making. And I have, I think, the other 4 or 5. I can't remember if it's 4 or 5, but I have them down on the bookshelf over there. But I vaguely remember seeing something about this, and I remember people saying that they liked it. So that's why I threw it on my cart, and that's why it's here today. Next up, we have Middlemarch by George Eliot. And I believe, watched a mini-series on Netflix, but you know, we've talked about, you know, that I'm trying to read more classics and everything, and I just saw this edition and it was really pretty. It's got like the deckled edges and everything, so yep, that's why I got it. The next one that I picked up is Interior Darkness. This is by Peter Straub, and this is short story collection. I have not read anything from this author aside from the books that he co-wrote with Stephen King, which were The Talisman and Black House, which I enjoyed both of those very much, but I have not read one of his solo works yet, and I really enjoy short stories, so I decided that this would probably be a good place to start. And the next to last book that I have is The Smell of Other People's Houses. This is by Bonnie Sue Hitchcock. I have seen several different booktubers reading this recently, and they have really enjoyed it. And it is super short, so I am looking forward to reading this. And the very last book that we have in this haul is, this is a book that you've already seen today, yet another edition of Alice in Wonderland. And I just, do you see how pretty this cover is? Like, it's shiny and it's just so pretty. And then on top of that pretty, there are beautiful illustrations. Like, I don't even have kids. Why do I care that these books are illustrated? I don't know. I just appreciate these things. So I have a whole, let me actually put it where you can see it. So like I have a whole stack on the very top of my bookshelf, which you can't see, of all of my Alice in Wonderland editions. But I don't know why I do this, but why not, I guess? I don't know. Okay. Okay, so those are all the books that I have to show you today. Have you read any of these books? So what did you think of them? Comment down below and let me know. As always, if you like what you see and you want to see more, make sure you give a big thumbs up or hit subscribe if you have not already. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you all next time. Bye.